Alabama off to a great start this year with their class. And we've got the guru of recruiting from On3, Andrew Bone, who's going to talk to us about what's going on with the Crimson Tide and their recruiting. Then we're going to bust into the Tailgate Show radio portion, all on this episode. So make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Let's get this thing going. All right, Roll Tide with Andrew Bone, who, just like Mike Johnson the other day, is in the open. Did you see yourself in the open of the show, Bone?
Yeah,
Mick Gillispie here.
I like that new opening video you got there. That looks good.
Yeah, that's hard hitting right there. And you that was when you were on your book tour. Remember that? Yeah. Think about all the people that got that book in their Christmas stocking over the last couple of years.
Hopefully people enjoyed that more than a lump of coal.
Yeah, that's what my son said I deserved for being ill. And then, but you know what? I got to tell you, that thing sat on the refrigerator for like a week and a half. And then on Christmas Eve night, he told Stephanie, he said, "Hey, take that down so Santa Claus doesn't see it." So I didn't get any coal. Got a couple Grateful Dead shirts. What'd you get?
I got some new clothes, stuff like that. I mean, nothing too crazy. Obviously the kids got a lot of good things. I think they had a good Christmas. It was a big Paw Patrol and Hot Wheels Christmas and soccer goal Christmas for my son.
Nice.
So he had fun. Little girl got a bunch of little clothes and I don't know what else. Just a bunch of stuff. I guess you give to a little infant, but
right. Doesn't really know what's going on yet.
She can really play with too much, but my son, he seemed really, really excited on Christmas morning, so that was good.
Haven't talked to you since Alabama opened their Christmas gifts and recruiting anyway, the National Signing Day, the early period. What were your thoughts? I know that they got a lot of their targets and some guys slipped off the hook, but still number 2, according to your publication On3.
Yeah, people get upset when you're not number 1. Always if you're not number 1, I guess you last. So, but no, Alabama obviously had a great day. Second, number 2 recruiting class in the country, as you mentioned. There were some guys that I think they felt like they had a good chance to land heading into the day and maybe into the week. There were obviously some late night phone calls that continued to happen. There was one kid that, I think going into his press conference, he was leaning towards Alabama. And then all of a sudden, things kind of shifted. And, that was Edrick Houston, who, it's kind of weird. This was a 5-star defensive lineman that had not, really talked to Alabama since August and snuck into Tuscaloosa for an unofficial visit, the weekend before the early signing period. And, Ohio State felt pretty confident that he was going to stick with them. And then going into Tuesday morning, or probably late Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, and then into Wednesday morning, all we were hearing was it was going to be Alabama. And this is, not just coming from the Alabama side of things. I don't think Alabama was ever really, felt like they were 100%. They were just kind of waiting to see what was going to happen. But the Ohio State side certainly felt it slipping away. Talking to some national guys who had been in contact with Edrick, and it was all Alabama for about 16 hours, and then somehow, some way, Ohio State was able to get him back in the fold, and he ends up signing with Ohio State. But at the end of the day, that wasn't a guy that nobody was really expecting to be in Alabama's class, and people end up getting upset when you start talking about a kid as a possibility in the final days, and then it doesn't happen. And they get upset, wondering what happened. But basically, the kid was pretty solid with Ohio State, and had some second thoughts, and then went back around and stuck with the original decision. So that's okay. But overall, Alabama, they signed a great class. They were able to flip a couple guys on that Wednesday during the early signing period in Arian Hampton, who's a 4-star wide receiver / defensive back out of Texas, flipped him away from the Longhorns. And then Alabama was also able to flip Miami commitment Kevin Riley, who's the top 100 running back out of Tuscaloosa County, that has really been one of Alabama's top running back targets since the early part of the year. He was probably in that discussion with maybe one or two other guys, from the very start, and made an early commitment to Miami back in the summer. Seemed pretty solid, but then started taking some visits to Alabama during the season. Shut things down in the early part of December, then decided to take an official visit on that last week in Alabama, and that kind of shifted the momentum into the Tide's favor. And then Steve Bouma from Canada, who's originally from trying to think. He's originally from Cameroon. Sorry, he is he is a 6'4", 275 pound defensive lineman that is really impressive, and I think he's got a chance to really develop into something special at Alabama. He reminds me a little bit of Jaron Reed as far as his physicality, his size, strength, power. I think he's got a chance to be a really good defensive lineman in Tuscaloosa. So those were the three new additions for Alabama. During the early signing period, they'd also added Ja'Shawn Ross, a 4-star outside linebacker from Kansas City, a couple days prior to that. Still waiting on a couple other decisions. I think going into the early signing period, the biggest thing you don't want to do is lose any of your commits. And Alabama didn't lose any. All those guys signed, but there was one Alabama commitment who did not sign, and that was Ryan Williams, 5-star wide receiver out of Saraland, who just recently reclassified from the 2025 class to 2024. So we'll be watching that decision heading into February, because he's going to take some visits. He wants to enjoy that official visit process, because it's something that he hasn't ever been able to do. It's not like he was a senior back in the summer and was taking official visits, even though he was planning on reclassifying the whole time. Once that became official, now he is able to take these official visits. So wants to do those visits: Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Texas. They make that decision on, I think, February the 9th. I believe that's his birthday. He said it's always been his dream to kind of announce on his birthday, or sign on his birthday at least. So
right.
Watching that, and then two more decisions that we're going to be watching pretty closely. In these All-American games that are coming up. Xavier Mincy, who is top 100 defensive back out of Daytona Beach. He's going to be announcing commitment at the All-American Bowl. Between Alabama, Miami, Florida, and supposedly has already signed during that early signing period on that Friday. And things have been really, really tight-lipped. I don't think people really want that stuff to leak. Now, I know that there's at least one side that has said that they don't expect him. So we will see kind of what happens, but I don't really want to ruin any sort of moment for him as far as saying that it's down to this school and that school. So, the three schools that we've, talked about often with him are Alabama, Miami, and Florida. So we'll see what happens with that. And then Daniel Hill, who's a 4-star running back out of Meridian, Mississippi. We've talked about him kind of throughout the entire year. Has visited Alabama more than any other school. He's always kind of wanted to also, not always, but because he was originally set to announce on August the 23rd, decided to hold off. Then once he kind of got through the season, decided he was going to wait and sign. He was going to sign during the early signing period and then commit at the All-American Bowl on January the 6th as well. So it's down to Alabama, Mississippi State. South Carolina's been in it as well, but I do expect him to choose between he's already chosen which school it is, but he'll announce probably between Alabama and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. So we'll see how that all unfolds. But those are probably the main, three that we are watching pretty closely as far as kids in the high school ranks. And, we'll kind of also see what happens in the transfer portal over the upcoming days.
Oh, that's